with our guests here on Mike in the Morning on KZSB AM 1290 FM 96.9. Be right back.
Coming up Saturday, March 4th, Dos Pueblos High School will be hosting the 53rd annual Dos Pueblos Jazz Festival. It'll be in the beautiful Elines Performing Arts Center on the campus of Dos Pueblos High School. This all-day event features musicians from junior high, middle school, high school, and Santa Barbara City College. Plus, there'll be a special evening concert featuring trombonist Alex Isles at 7 p.m. For all the details, just Google the 53rd annual Dos Pueblos Jazz Festival.
And welcome back to Mike in the Morning. Here in studio with me, a couple of fine folks. James Mooy from Dos Pueblos High School. You're the jazz band, right?
I'm Santa Barbara City College.
Santa Barbara City College. I'm sorry. Forgive me. You're with Dos Pueblos. Okay, well, that's what happens when you do things live. I'm excited about having you guys here because anything that has to do with people getting interested in music or anything for that matter and getting out there on the playing field, as I call it, is exciting. And I want to give you guys a chance to promote what you've got coming up. So, who are you and what brings you to the show?
So I'm Jim Mooy. I teach at Santa Barbara City College.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Aimee Ware, and I teach at Dos Pueblos High School.
Very good.
And there's a jazz festival coming up at Dos Pueblos High School. It's been going on how many years now?
53. This is the 53rd.
Since I was a student at Dos Pueblos High School.
That goes back a way.
It does, back to Erwin McGuire. Because this is the Santa Barbara station, so I can give a shout out. And what happens is students from all over Southern California really come to this festival, jazz ensembles, and it's kind of their what they're looking forward to, what they're practicing for. They perform on the stage, which is a great auditorium at Dos Pueblos High School, in front of 3 judges. The judges adjudicate the performance, tell them how they can play better. And then the best part of the festival is that every band goes back for a half hour with one of those judges who critiques them and rehearses them, and it's educational for both the students and the teachers. It's one of the reasons when I taught high school that I brought my bands to these festivals, because I learned as much as the students did.
It must be exciting and exhilarating as a teacher, because you have hundreds of people coming through that are just going through the motions, so to speak, and then all of a sudden there's that one that comes in and you spot them and you say, that's the one that could do it. And then one day they transition from just being a student to being something better than.
The cool thing is it's not just one. It's
all of them.
Well, that's good to know.
There's several that you look at and think, wow, this kid, where did they get that?
And that's something that they'll carry for the rest of their life.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
So what do the student musicians do? Let's get into the. Do
you want to cover that?
So the Dos Pueblos students, they don't get to participate in the festival, so they don't get to receive that clinic feedback in this particular festival. They get to perform in a concert with Alex Isles, who is a trombonist from LA and just an incredible educator and musician. And so at Dos Pueblos, we're really looking forward to getting to play with him and hearing kind of all the things that he has to say to us about studio life and as well as our musicianship and playing.
I heard him say something on one of the ads that we've been running for you. Never forget what got you into this. And I thought that was a very astute conversation, because that applies to pretty much everything. If you've got passion for something.
The tree grows from the roots, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And music requires an incredible amount of dedication, discipline, and practice. And that's, I think, the demarcation. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, this Saturday, if you show up to Dos Pueblos High School Auditorium, you will hear the tree in all of its forms. You will hear the roots, you will hear the trunk, you will hear the fruit. And the fruit is going to be at that evening concert, which I hope everybody can make. It's tickets are available at the door. And that's going to feature Alex Isles, the incredible Dos Pueblos High School Jazz Ensemble, and Santa Barbara City College's Lunch Break band, which that's why I'm here. That's my band. So.
Yeah. Now, are they playing their own material, or are they playing stock stuff?
Dos Pueblos is playing stock arrangements. There will, of course, be original solos improv right there, then and there.
So we had a set picked out, and then Alex emailed me 4 new charts about a week and a half ago. And so my band has been on it. Luckily, I've got a really good crew this year. The students are just exceptional. We've been lucky. We've been blessed because of great educators at the high school level. Santa Barbara City College. We get a chance to experience those students that have been a part of the high school program here. So my band picked it up, and they are ready to go.
Oh, that's exciting.
Everything he sent. And so he's got his own charts that he's going to do. Alex Isles, in case you're wondering who he is, he's a chameleon, a musical chameleon. He plays on, he was on the Star Wars soundtrack, just about every major Hollywood soundtrack. He's the first call trombonist in LA. And then he also plays in every major big band in Los Angeles. And he subs with the LA Philharmonic. So there's not many musicians who are that eclectic.
Yeah, they just kind of walk in, open up their case, sit down, and say, okay, what are we doing today?
He's great at whatever you put in front of him.
I'm envious of that. I've got a gentleman coming on Friday. He wrote a song called Hobo's Shoestring. They got a band called the Mighty Trainwrecks, and they're out of Memphis, Tennessee. This thing's hitting the charts. It's off and running. And he's a harmonica, plus he's the guy that wrote it. And he's been doing music since high school. He's saying much the same thing you are. Now, he's much older now, but what have you. But, he's stuck with it. And his story we're going to hear Friday. But that's Chris Floyd. But I think about how do you stay to it? Get over that resistance to practice. And then suddenly it becomes almost addictive. You can't stop practicing.
I think festivals like this. Go ahead.
Performances.
Yeah.
It's the rush of the audience being on stage.
And knowing that performance is coming up and knowing that you're going to be on stage. Everybody, that's the beauty of any ensemble experience, is that everybody is personally responsible for making it work. It's the biggest team sport. What other team do you know that puts 80 players on the field simultaneously? And if one of those players has an issue, the team goes down.
Yeah, exactly.
That's music. And that's what's exciting.
Yeah, hold that thought for a second, and we'll be right back with you guys. I got to get Guy Rivera here on the line. Good morning, Guy. How are you?
Doing well, Mike. How are you doing, my friend?
Well, not too bad. We're visiting today with Jim and Aimee, and we're talking about this upcoming band event. What do you got on your agenda?
Well, I tell you, just another week of ups and downs in the market.
Okay. What are we looking at?
Stocks are up today, direct mortgage funding. I got a specific message I want to throw out there.
Okay.
Regarding home equity lines of credit. With the inflationary numbers that came out last week, they're going to continue to increase interest rates. Anybody that's gotten a home equity line of credit has been tapping in on it. They need to start trying to pay that down as much as possible, because those home equity lines of credit are going to be up in the 10% range before we know it. They're not already there for some people with the higher margins. If they have gotten those lines of credit 10 years ago or even 7 years ago, they need to start calculating what it's going to be, because they're going to go on a payback. They're going to need to start paying back principal interest at an accelerated rate. Therein lies trouble for some borrowers and homeowners. So that's what our mantra's been, just educating the public on what's going on with their second direct mortgage funding. It's pretty important, Mike. It really is. So we're trying to get that word out to have people keep an eye on their seconds, pay down their home equity lines of credit if they can, and make sure that they keep a handle on it. Does that make sense?
It does indeed. What number should they call?
687-6282, extension 201. Direct mortgage funding is here for our community. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, Guy, thank you very much for taking time out to visit with us. That's Guy Rivera, and you know how to get a hold of Guy. He's easy to find. And with that, let's jump back into the 53rd Annual Dos Pueblos Jazz Festival here. I'm curious, Aimee, what instrument do you play?
I am a flute player.
Flute?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of flute in jazz, but it's been, not a lot, there's a little bit, but
Right.
It's been really fun is teaching these students through the charts and getting to run through everything with them.
Once upon a time, I lived next door to a classical flutist at West LA, and that guy played 8 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I believe
I mean, you could set a clock to him, and I mean, he was pretty well known. And I always admired that this guy started off with scales.
every single time.
And just for hours. And you go, doesn't this guy, I know a pretty famous trumpeter in one of the big A bands, and he's been playing the trumpet for a long time, and he practices every day, 7 days a week. And I mean, you're playing the same thing over and over and over again. Pretty soon, you don't want to ever hear it again.
Yep.
But
That's true.
In any event, what do you guys have as a surprise? Do you have something coming up that's going to catch people's attention?
Besides the concert itself, the concert is the big attention getter, and that's for sure. When you hear Alex play, you will be blown away. He will knock your socks off. We're doing okay, I'll just give it away. We're doing a piece that he wrote, which is a down-home Southern-style piece, but he wails on it like a New Orleans. You'd never know this guy plays in the LA Phil. He wails as though he's an New Orleans street player, and just fills the hall with sound. You've never heard a trombone sound like this before.
Well, aren't many of the wind instruments, I guess all of the wind instruments, kind of that way? They have a sound, and then one day they sound like they're supposed to sound, and it's very unique.
No, some people never get there.
Well, no, I understand.
I mean, and the thing is, for him to be able to play a beautiful ballad, he's going to play this beautiful bossa nova with us, and then flip the switch and be a New Orleans street player. You're going to hear how eclectic this guy is, but the sound quality, hearing that live, it'll part your hair. It's wonderful.
There's a trumpet tribute that I play here on Special Military Days on the station. It runs about 12 minutes. It's a 12-year-old girl playing the trumpet solo in front of an entire audience. The place is packed, and it is flawless. It's just absolutely amazing, the poise and the composure that she has when she plays that.
I'm a trumpet player. I think I might know the clip you're talking about.
It's really moving.
Yeah.
And I play it religiously. I've got it here in our setup here. It takes a whole recorded segment, and I get a lot of comments on it. And I'm thinking, boy, there's a lady who I assume has done very well with the trumpet.
Right.
To be able to do that at 12 years old with that much poise.
Well, this coming Saturday, you're going to hear some great 12-year-old players from the junior highs. They're going to be earlier in the day. So, again, $25 gets you the entire day, including the concert at night. You can come in, watch those junior highs in the morning, go get some lunch, come back. And Alex is going to give a clinic.
He's giving a clinic at lunchtime.
Yeah. Okay. So he's going to basically all the kids and anybody who paid to get into the festival gets to hear Alex talk about how he does what he does. So that's going to be at noon. Yeah. And there's a lot going on in the day. It's pretty exciting. So
how many of the students that come through both the high school level and then learning how to do it?
Well, I'll tell you, a gig I had last, I guess a week ago Thursday, was with a saxophone player named Jacob Cesny. And the bass player was also one of my former students. But Jacob just got off the road. Well, he's on and off the road with Maroon 5. Last night he played at Catalina, or 2 nights ago, he was at Catalina Bar and Grill with LeVar Burton. He is absolutely one of many students who has found a place in the professional world of music, and it's hard. It's not an easy profession to get into. I'm not going to beat around the bush and say it is, but the fact of the matter is we've had many students who have excelled because, again, great high school programs feeding a college program that's very active.
Well, that's part of why I'm having Chris Floyd come on in Memphis. Here's a gentleman that's been doing this for 40-some years, and that's how long he's had to wait. And they got a good band. They are actually playing all the top venues in Tennessee, but it takes a long time to get there. Now, he's playing a different kind of music.
When's he coming on?
He'll be on Friday at 7:30, more or less. I'll send you the information.
I'll check it out, thanks.
He's a harmonica player, and I got to talking to him, and he was talking about how it's difficult to teach harmonica because so much of what goes on you can't see. You can't really demonstrate it to a student.
Well, unfortunately, that's a lot of instruments are that
Probably
way.
a lot of that way. Yeah.
Embouchure placement and everything.
And then, okay, I'm going to bring it back to jazz. Then try to explain how swing works. That's a whole other religion.
So the venue again is where, Aimee?
Dos Pueblos High School in the EPAC, right at the front of the school.
Okay, very good. And the ticket cost again?
$25 for the whole day, $20 students and seniors.
And $10 if you just want to go see the local groups perform, like the junior highs and the high schools.
Having had a stepson that was in your groups, I can truly appreciate how important the music program is for all schools, and those that have dropped music need to really reconsider that.
Yeah.
I think that music helps you in so many other areas, primarily in the discipline and the structure and the focus, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Aimee, out of all of the kids that you've had go through your program, who sticks out? Who's the one that you're the most proud of? There's got to be one.
I mean, I'm proud of all of them. They all have
Oh, no, I understand.
Good answer.
their own,
That's diplomatic.
quirks and everything and things that they overcome in order to be there and their own challenges. So every day that we get to come together and they're there and we get to do stuff makes music together is a good day.
Well, I agree with you on that. So, and same question of you, Jim. I mean,
I've got students who are mixing movies. I've got a student who is the audio editor for NCIS. I've got students who are touring professionally. I've got one who's turned out. I started him on an upright bass, and now he is one of the premier Jaracho players in the world. It's just incredible to see how eclectic they become even after they leave my program. So it's incredibly rewarding.
Well, I asked the question because it's inspiration for the people that are wanting to get started and think that's going to be easy, or, gee, I want to do that. What's it going to take? As well as those who are struggling and are just not quite where they want to be, and they're getting frustrated because frustration's a big part of the equation.
Well, yeah, you can just come back to it every day, and it gets a little better every single day that you do it, and that's rewarding, especially if you can look back on, oh, I wasn't so good last week.
Remember when that was difficult?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not to be rude, but we got to move on. Any closing thoughts before we move over to Ross and Scott?
This Saturday, Dos Pueblos High School Auditorium, a jazz festival you won't forget, and a concert at 7 p.m. I don't think we mentioned the time yet. Tickets available at the door to go see Alex Isles with Dos Pueblos High School Jazz Band and Santa Barbara City College Lunch Break Big Band.
Well, very good. We're going to play the clip right now. We'll be back with Scott and Ross after this on Mike in the Morning, KZSB AM 1290, FM 96.9.
Coming up Saturday, March 4th, it's the 53rd Annual Dos Pueblos Jazz Festival. It'll be in the Ealing's Performing Arts Center on the campus of Dos Pueblos High School. This all-day event will feature a special evening concert at 7 p.m. with trombonist Alex Isles.
I came up playing trombone in the public schools. When my mom went to interview the orchestra director at the school to find out what instrument I was going to play, the interview was very quick. The orchestra director asked us, "Tell me about your son." And my mom said, "He's very tall." And then the orchestra director said, "He'll play trombone." One thing I want to tell you, as long as you're going to be a professional, never forget what it was that drew you to that instrument. And every day do something that puts you back in touch with it. That's so important.
Don't miss the 53rd Annual Dos Pueblos Jazz Festival with a special performance by trombonist Alex Isles at 7 p.m. It'll be Saturday, March 4th in the Ealing's Performing Arts Center on the campus of Dos Pueblos High School. Tickets available